Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're going to be having a 1v1 on Kholodny Ferma. Once again. Our heroes today are going to be yona1023, playing for the Soviets. And his opponent this time around is going to be HFSzsoci.
We have more conscripts at our disposal.
We're going to call him Saucy, okay? Yeah. So, Saucy is going to be playing for the Germans. Sorry I gotta apologize early on for the hiatus that I've had. It is holiday season, and it's the first time I've had to deal with this at the same time that I'm casting, so I was not aware of how much time that actually takes up, so yeah. Sorry about that, but hopefully, unless anything else happens, I should be back on schedule and able to cast a lot of games. In fact, today I'm hoping to get at least 3 games casted in a row. So anyways, let's talk about a little bit about our players. Well, let's just talk about Yona. Yona is the one that sent in the replay, so thank you so much for that. And he is currently ranked top 100 in his Soviet play, so pretty good player there. He is, at the time of casting this, ranked 94, so we should expect good things from him. So anyways, looking at the game, we have Tier 1 going down for Saucy. He gets himself Grenadiers and then an MG42 after the second Grenadier. Grenadiers heading over to the edges of the map, so not keeping them together. The Pios are going up to the north onto the munitions point, so they will have the cover of those Grand Squats. And as far as Yona, he got no tech, just getting himself conscripts and more conscripts. So the Molotovs also get upgraded after the third conscript comes out, so yeah, that's a pretty standard thing to do. A lot of players do that, 3 conscripts into Molotovs, and then probably after that, a 4th conscript squad. So we have the first engagement down south, Grenadiers and conscripts engaging out in the open. Grenadiers do get into a little bit of a good position with light cover, but the conscripts also back off and get into light cover themselves. There's a second conscript squad nearby, which will be able to move in very shortly to support, but there is also an MG42 coming in for Saucy, getting in to fight off this conscript squad. However, there is a conscript squad in the center going in for the flank on the MG42 for Yona. Very nice. He's going to be able to pop a Molotov right on top of that MG42. Here they go. The MG42 opens up and the conscript squad gets the suppression. Paxov moves out of the way. The Molotov lands, but they have already moved, and the conscripts decide to jump into the flames. One of them catches fire, and the other ones take a little bit of damage with the flames. MG42 and Grenadier Squad, however, are forced to retreat, as 3 conscript squads do outnumber them quite handily. And very nice. So Yona took a little bit of losses there. One unnecessary loss on his conscript squad in the center, but he did manage to win the engagement. Both conscript squads down from the south pushing up into the center. The 4-man squad decides to back off and is going to try to capture the point, while we have a combat engineer laying down mines in the approach here. Very nice spot for mines to be laid down. It is very transited, and it is very likely to hit something. More conscript squads on the field for Yona, and Saucy is getting himself a sniper. Ooh, very nice. So similar type of build as we've seen before in VCO, but a little bit of a mixed order. It was the Volks Sniper MG opening. This is Gran MG Sniper, but you know, pretty much the same gist. So conscripts up in the north, engaging all over the place. We have 3 conscript squads just surrounding the position. There is a Grand Squad and a Pioneer Squad caught behind lines and currently surrounded. Conscript squad moving in, gonna throw a Molotov right on top of these guys. No, they're actually gonna get point blank range and duke it out in front of them. Conscripts are actually losing that fight, and the Pios are wrecking the conscripts, but they decide to retreat after getting their flamethrower upgrade. So the conscripts over here in the center now down to 3 men against 3 Grenadiers. The 4-man conscript squad moves into support, while a fresh conscript squad moves in to engage the Grenadier squad. So he's now at number 3-1 as far as squads goes. Down to 2 men. They continue to push, focusing fire, and force the retreat. More Grenadiers flooding into the field. MG42 coming in up to the fuel point, gonna set up. It sets up in the middle of the field. Will be able to cover these conscripts as they move, but will not capture the point as it does. Conscript squad forced to retreat quite instantly in the first burst, while the second conscript squad moves out of range of the MG42 and tries to capture the north. Right, a little bit to the right, 3-man conscript squad capturing the victory point, while the Grens continue to push forward. There is 1 more conscript squad moving into the zone that will be able to support. And down south, we see the sniper for Saucy just capturing territory without any support. So it's a little bit of a risky maneuver, but the engagement is currently being focused up in the north. Conscript squad decide to jump into the shack. That shack will provide them some defense. Remember, it's only 35% now, which means it is not as effective as it once was. And they are now down to 2 men on the retreat. They have to retreat through the 3-man Grenadier squad. They stop, say hello, and then continue to run, becoming 1 in the middle of the road, apparently. But they make it out alive, so that's fine for them. MG42 does get a little bit flanked by that conscript squad and decides to pack up and move. It is getting assaulted now by a second conscript squad. Sets up to try to engage the conscript squad that is assaulting it, but it gets behind its arc of fire, and the MG42 is forced to retreat. Pyos with flamethrowers do run to the aid of the MG42, but they were in a move order, so they stop right in the middle of all the forces and are taking quite a beating, down to 2 men already. The flamethrower does do some damage to the conscript squad, forcing it to retreat, but with the combat engineers and the other conscript squad in the zone, that pioneer is now down to 1 man, but barely makes it out. Grand's now coming onto the field. 2 Grand squads coming in to push out these conscript squads. There is a Grand squad behind enemy lines shooting these conscripts in the back, and a nice rifle nade on that conscript squad on the fuel point. Takes down 2 of them and does a lot of damage to the rest of the squad members. Combat engineers decide to back off and get to the cover of that truck and take the munitions point, while another conscript squad moves in to relieve the now retreating conscript squad in this engagement. But there are now 3 grenadier squads in front of them, which means they are going to take incredible amounts of damage if they decide to engage. One of the conscripts is poking his head on the other side of the fence, actually 2 of them, so they're taking fire from these 3 grents, taking a little bit of damage. Now they reposition themselves and back off and are probably going to jump into the house. No, they decide to flood into the center. Up north, the conscript squad, fresh one, comes up to the northern point and is now getting assaulted by 3 grants. There goes the rifle nade, gonna land right on top of nothing. Very whiff rifle nade there. But the sniper is now up in the north and is going to be providing a lot of fire support here for the grenadiers. Down goes 1 conscript. The sniper repositions and a Molotov lands where the grenadiers were. One of them stands in the fire. He's being quite a boss there. And there's flames. Lost flames. Sniper now in a very bad spot. He's getting shot at by the conscript. The conscript are running right on top of the sniper. Can they kill him off? There goes the volleys. Very low in health, but the sniper barely makes it out alive. Very lucky there for Zsoci. Yeah, that was a big mistake there by Zsoci, but unfortunately for him, the sniper did not die. He very easily died. MG42 set up in the center for Zsoci, intercepts an incoming conscript squad. Conscript squad Uras right in front of the MG42. The MG42 was reloading, and the conscripts get right behind the arc of fire. There goes the damage and forces the retreat. Pyos with flamethrowers coming in to relieve, and the Grenadier still holding up on the north, holding that fuel point. Tech-wise, we have Tier 1 already down for Yona, and he is getting himself his sniper as well, so he's going to try to go for the counter-snipe. Very nice. And as far as Zsoci, he is getting himself the med bunker while already having Tier 2 up. No... yeah, he hasn't actually built anything from Tier 2, so it's interesting, but oh well. And we have another engagement by the munitions points. Grenadiers and conscripts. Grenadiers set up for another rifle nade. No, they set up just taking cover by the trees, getting a little bit of light cover. The conscripts do manage to capture the point, getting range of a Molotov, but decide to back off and get into the house, while another conscript squad comes in for the flank. Up north, Grenadier squad retreating, and combat engineers trying to capture territories. The mine down south has not gotten tripped, and the Soviet sniper is now on the field. We'll keep an eye on that and see if he actually goes for the counter snipe. German sniper currently over here on the north is very low in health, so it's very risky maneuver, but the med bunker has not gotten upgrade just yet for Zsoci, and he wants to utilize the power of the sniper. Nice Molotov right on top of that Grand Squad, forces the retreat. Pyos move in and are dancing around the flames. One of them is actually sitting in the flames, catching a blaze, and they are forced to retreat down to 3 men, and there they go. Sniper continues to shoot for the Germans down. Now it has 5 kills to its name. MG42 moves up to cover the area and sets up in the rubble of, well, actually, those cut logs there. Molotov landing on the MG42, burning the gunner alive instantly, and the other guy moves in to replace him, catches fire, and barely makes it out. German sniper is retreated now and is getting treated by the medical staff for the German forces. And there is nothing in the south right now. Panzer Grenadier is now getting produced for Zsoci, so he is now finally utilizing his Tier 2. And they're probably going to come out through here, or no, through here probably. No, actually through here, wrong side. So there they go, running down the road. So, Yona's actually in a pretty solid position right now. He has a lot of conscripts, that's 5 conscript squads and a sniper. Facing off against 3 Grens and a sniper, although there's a Panzer Gren now, and an MG42, but well. Sniper opening up on the conscripts, they are capturing the point. The sniper or Soviet snipers are behind here, setting up to try to go for the counter snipe, but they now make themselves known. So that is unfortunate for Yona. He's not going to be able to get a surprise counter snipe. They decide to move back into cover, and the flamethrowers, Pyos, move on. and take another shot from the sniper down to one man. The German sniper is still sitting over here on this side. They are right outside of each other's range, and the Grenadiers throw a nice rifle nade at the sniper squad, but the sniper squad retreats as it flies through the air and makes it alive. Conscripts taking quite a beating to both the snipers and the Grens and an MG42, down to one man on the retreat. Very low health one man, but he now retreats through friendly forces and makes it barely out alive. Doctrine selected for Yona, and that is the counter-attack tactics. Very nice. We don't see this used a lot. Does provide him the ability to use HFSzsoci, and he utilizes it right now for a recon overflight. He's going to reconnaissance this area. Let's take a look at what he actually sees. He's taking a look at this center area. He sees the retreating squads. He sees everything over here that's currently moving. The conscript as well as are looking at that information. But yeah, he gets to see a lot, so that's nice. Also provides some shock troops. Provides some for Mother Russia, which is combat boosts to your infantry, and KV-1 howitzer. We'll see. We'll probably see the KV-1, but I don't know if we'll see a howitzer. So a full route out of the field for Yona's forces. He is forced to retreat everything. He does get himself tier 3 now and is going for the T-70. So it's an okay choice to go for considering the Doctrine, because he has a KV-1 to provide a heavier type of tank than the T-34. So yeah, I mean, I like it. It's nice. So sniper taking some shots at the Grens. The German sniper moves up and gets shot on the retreat. Very nice snipe there by Yona, but I believe that was a big mistake there by HFSzsoci. He was just moving across the open field, not in cover. Remember that the German sniper has the bonus or property that he retains the cloak from cover to cover for a little bit longer than the Soviets do. So that allows him to move stealthily between cover. So if you utilize that properly, you can sneak up on enemies. But, well, Yona got himself his counter snipe. Scout car getting produced for HFSzsoci. Since he's lost the sniper, he wants something to deal with the Soviet sniper. But there's now a T-70 on the field that is going to go to town on those German forces. There are 2 Panzer Grenadier squads on the field for HFSzsoci, and he could very easily upgrade to a Panzerschreck on one of those, although, well, munitions are quite prohibitive for him right now because of all those rifle nades and the flamethrower, but, you know, it's an option. So center map, we see HFSzsoci just moving his forces and capturing. We have an MG42 taking residence in the church and spewing the gospel of MG42 bullets. And there we go. Up north, we have an engagement. The scout car moves in and engages the combat engineers. But we now have the T-70 going into the center, engaging the MG42. The scout car moves in to engage conscripts. The conscripts do not have 18 aids. They are just upgrading them right now. And the scout car is just trying to harass that MG42. I mean, the T-70 is harassing the MG42. The scout car now notices that there is a T-70 on the field and is trying to retreat. The T-70 moves in to try to engage, but there is a Grenadier squad in the way, and it is now getting shot at by the T-70. Conscripts now right in front of the Grens, using that T-70 support fire to their advantage. And there goes the Grens. So very nice. Keep in mind that vehicles have received a scatter increase and an accuracy reduction while they're moving. So it's very, well, not very difficult, but more difficult to chase down squads and kill them at the moment. So T-34 is produced for Yona. Very interesting choice. He did have the option of a KV-1, but I guess he didn't want to. It is 120 fuel, so you know, by no means he can spam those that easily. But cost-wise, it's actually quite nice. I mean, it's relatively the same as the T-34, a little bit just more expensive, as opposed to the 200 plus that say the 34. Anyways, Panzer Grenadiers and Grens pushing up to the north, forcing away a Grenadier squad. We did have a conscript squad move through there, but now the T-70 and T-34 move in unison up to the north and are going to try to flush out those infantry. We now have a pack gun coming onto the field for HFSzsoci. Very nice reaction there. And the Grens are getting mauled by the T-70 and T-34. Although not really. They did take a loss, but the tanks have not managed to do much else. Besides that, snipers move in to support, and there goes the shot. Nope, the Grenadiers retreat once they see the snipers moving on top of them. And down south, Panzer Grenadiers is just being used to capture territory. Mines still laid there, not being detonated or anything. So the south hasn't really seen much action. We're currently focusing on the north. And the Panzer Grens are now getting harassed by both tanks. There's also a mine there by Yona that actually got dodged by the Panzer Grenadiers, which is quite surprising. And we now have G43s opening up in the center for Saucy. He actually has G43s on both of the Grand Squads, so that's a lot of firepower going down. Scout car moves into the center, going to engage that C-34 and the C-70. Down it goes, out of control, instantly blowing up. The Grants move into range and throw off a Faust on that C-70. One Faust goes off, damages the engine, and the C-70 is just shooting at the Grants as they approach. The snipers now caught in a bad spot. They hit sprint and are trying to run. One of them goes down, and the second gets executed by those U-43s. So unfortunate there for Yona. He has now down to 3 conscript squads, has lost 2 so far, and Saucy is in a very commanding position as far as infantry goes. Hakon actually moves into a very nice position and takes out that T-70, so another unfortunate loss there for Yona, so he might be losing the grasp on this game. A KV-1 does get called in to replace the lost armor, and that might give him the, you know, the push that he needs, but yeah, I mean, look at that infantry count. Go ahead and see if we can break this real quick. I think I had the wrong setting for my mouse cursor, but oh well. Anyways, KV-1 heading alone into the center. KV-1 does need to be a little bit supported. It is a heavy tank, but you know, there's heavier. So up north, Grant is opening up with the G43s on the approaching infantry. We have all the infantry for Yona pushing into the north, while the T-34 and the KV-1 push down south. Panzer Grenadiers just smiling at the KV-1 as it looks at them and manages to miss them, pretty much point blank. And the conscripts and combat engineers continue to push forward. They force away that Grand Squad, and up north there's a one-man Grand Squad having to push through the conscript. Can he make it out alive? He should be dead. There he goes. Down goes the Grenadier Squad. So a nice pickup there for Yona. Panzer Grenadiers pushing into all the infantry. The flamethrowers going to town on them. Panzer Grenadiers trying to get in range for a bundling probably, but they are taking quite a beating from the flames. Combat engineers are now being focused, but down to one man on that Grand Squad or Panzer Grenadier Squad, but they barely make it out alive because they are Panzer Grants, and they are tough to Conscripts trying to stop these Pios and the MG42 as it approaches. The MG42 getting shot in the face, forcing to backtrack and get back alive. One-man Pio squad retreating through the conscripts, so the conscripts are currently in a move order and ignore the one-man Pio, and it makes it alive. Bit of an unfortunate loss there for Yona. He didn't, you know, get a nice kill there, but he was focusing on the MG42. MG42 now down to one man. Currently in retreat, but the conscripts as well are moving, but the MG42 does end up going down. So that is a potential pickup for Yona. He can utilize that MG42 in his favor. Center map, the KV-1 has taken some bit of damage from the pack gun, but it manages to clear out that pack gun and is now shooting at the Grenadiers that are approaching. One Grenadier squad forced to retreat, the second one just backtracks, and a second pack gun is now on the field for Saucy, which is going to be able to push back probably the T-34. The KV-1 does move in to take some shots, looks at the pack gun and decides to get out of its way. Pack gun shoots but misses. The conscripts move into the pack gun and recrew it. The one-man conscript squad on the field needs to retreat quite instantly. It goes down and down goes the pack gun. A big mistake there for Yona. That was not worth it at any means, right? And he loses the pack gun. Pack gun gets recruited and he loses a Med 2 conscript squad, which he cannot afford to lose at this point. So yeah. The KV-1 takes a couple shots from that pack gun, forced to retreat. Shock troops being called into the map to replace the missing infantry, down to 2 conscript squads, but Yona did take a lot of damage himself. The MG42 in the center of the map did get taken by Yona, so that's very nice for him. But yeah, I mean, Saucy took a lot of damage, now down to 2 Grand Squads and 1 Panzer Grenadier, so one of the Panzer Grenadier squads did end up dying. But yeah, I mean, those pack guns will allow him to control some territory, but the tanks are going to allow Yona to control the edges and just continuously harass. So yeah, there we go. Back at base, Saucy has not built any additional tech, but he did get himself his own Doctrine, which we never mentioned, but it's obvious because he got G43s. But I should mention it, it's the Lightning 4 Doctrine, the one that we got. So that means that we might be seeing Tigers coming up later on. Mine was getting laid down there by Yona, but it was interrupted by the Grenadiers, so it forced the cancel. Shock troops moving right on top of those Grants, taking some shots at point blank range by those G43s. A lot of damage going down, but the Grenadiers are also getting punished by those previous agents. Shock troops, Panzer Grenadiers are very capable of dealing with shock troops, and so they are back. And the T-34 is just there for support, but packed on moves into range. Should be able to shoot at the T-34. The shock troops are quite battered, and the T-34 gets the hell out of there. Conscripts now moving into the center, gets a little bit of a flank on that pack gun, taking some shots, but they are capable of retreating. Shock troops still retreating out of the field, getting a little bit caught by their own T-34, and the T-34 backs off to cover the approach, and the pack gun is a little bit behind, not able to shoot at that. Bad shot there by the T-34, it misses. The KV-1 still in the field, in the center, and the stolen MG-42 moves up to the center to stop any approaching infantry. Very nice. Down south, conscript veteran T3 just being used to capture. And another KV-1 getting called in for Yona, so he wants to have a little bit more armor to punch. Panzerfaust does go off by the Grens, hitting that T-34, damaging its engine. T-34 now down to about half health. Forced to back off and it's going to go back home. Pack gun is currently set up in range of it, so it needs to get the hell out of there. But it decides to just stop there. Behind enemy lines, we see conscripts using for Mother Russia to run around, getting defensive and offensive buffs. The MG-42 also sets up behind the enemy and shoots them on the rear, forcing those Panzer Grenadiers to retreat. And the KV-1 moves behind the arc of fire of that pack gun, trying to clear it off. Takes a shot to the rear, and the conscripts continue to push forward. For Mother Russia still in effect. They are running straight onto that pack gun. That flamethrower is right on top of the pack gun. Should be able to clear it out. And the KV-1 is shooting at the Grens, but gets fausted in the rear and forced to back off. The T-34 moves in to cover the pack gun as the Pioneers are apparently moving in to try to capture it, but the KV-1 is still there. 13 seconds left for Mother Russia, and the infantry is still running around like madmen, capturing as much as they can and forcing away all the German infantry for HFSzsoci. HFSzsoci back at base, still nothing else being produced. He's probably just holding off until he can get required points for the Tiger. He actually has the points, he probably just needs the resources. Rifle lane going down on this conscript squad. Conscript squads retaliate with their own Molotov, but they now forcibly retreat since the Garand's, what is that effect? Looked kind of like a mark, but I don't know. MG-42 is set up there to take that. Exhaustion. Oh, sorry, yeah. That is what happens after for Mother Russia. Units are tired and have less offensive and defensive traits, so that's a lot of damage going down. Units are weakened after ability formation. Okay, so yeah, that's the gamble of for Mother Russia. So they become very strong for a minute, but after that they are also very, very weak. So we see the MG-42 getting taken out by the Panzer Grenadiers just simply head on because they were so weak they weren't able to aim or take any damage. And yeah, so units are now back in full order. Shock troops pushing into the center against two Garand squads. The shock troops need to get right on top of them to do the maximum amount of damage. And the KV-1 up north is just shooting at those Panzer Grenadiers, but not hitting. Finally hits one of them, but the T-34 also gives some love there and continues in the fight. Pack gun is set up in that approach, covering the north. The KV-1 just forces away the infantry and allows the territory to remain captured. Victory point wise, Yona is currently in the lead. He is at 432 versus 227. We can see damage wise it's quite similar, 9,000 damage being applied by both players. So damage doesn't really mean much considering that damage is not equivalent to units killed. You can damage an enemy and then in return get healed up by the medics, and that's the same. Tiger now on the field for HFSzsoci. Very nice skin there. I don't remember what it's called, but it's very hypnotizing with those wheels. But yeah, there's now a Tiger on the field for HFSzsoci. Yona does have two KV-1s and a T-34 to deal with it. So a nicely placed ram by the T-34 and the KV-1s behind the rear armor can take it out quite easily, but there are pack guns to deal with. MG-42 gets recruited up in the north, and the Grenadiers continue to push to the center. Stolen pack gun, however, is being utilized by Yona, so that's another deterrent for HFSzsoci and his Tiger. Nice rifle lane landing on that pack gun, clears it out to two men. The two men turn around and are forced to retreat. The Tiger moves in, makes itself known, and the T-34 is now going to get in range of a Faust, and it does not go for the ram. The Grenadiers continue to push forward, clear out that, clear out the pack gun, and the Faust goes off on the T-34. The T-34 is now in a lot of trouble, and it gets cleared out by the Tiger. The KB-1s move into the rear armor of the Tiger, trying to get some shots, but they're not able to penetrate that armor. Keeps on bouncing, and the pack gun has not gotten recruited by anybody. So yeah, I mean, in retrospect, obviously, Yona should have gone for the ram immediately once he saw the Tiger, because that T-34 died anyway, so yeah, he might as well. Anyways, I was saying damage isn't really that big of a representation of how good players are doing, because you can damage a unit and not kill it, and it goes back home and gets healed up. But, you know, it's at least a statistic that you can track. But they're pretty even, 10,900, 10,500, so yeah, nothing really much. You can see here that HFSzsoci is currently a little bit ahead as far as units killed, 96 to 89, and Yona has lost 101 units. He's taking a little bit more losses there. So the KB-1's just moving around to the north, keeping its distance, or their distance. So the Tiger did take a little bit of damage, and the damaged engine, I believe that went down either an 18-8 by these guys. Yeah, 18-8 went down. No, that's a Molotov actually. Oh, probably hit it in 9. I don't know. My bad, I didn't actually check that. I was checking the statistics. So another T-34 on the field. It's gonna go for the ram now. No. Yeah. No. Yes. No. Decides to burn out its engine. Moves in, and there goes the ram. Boom! But it only does a true shock, so the Tiger is gonna remain alive, and the KB-1s are not capable of doing much damage to it. T-34 going down quite immediately, and the conscript trying to hold the line, but they are only at 2 men. It's a veteran 2 squad. Needs to get the hell out of there. Down to 1 man, goes for the Molotov, but now it retreats. KB-1 taking the shots from the Tiger. Can the man make it out alive? He's getting shot from the turret, but barely makes it out. Very risky maneuver there by Yona. Keeps alive his conscript, however, and the KB-1 up in the north is going to move down to support the KB-1 that has taken quite a bit of shots from the Tiger. So the Tiger outclassing those KB-1s by a mile. Both of them are not able to deal with a single Tiger. Those T-34 rams are essentially the key, unless he goes for the pack gun and tries to get it out of position. The Tiger did get repaired, but it still has a damaged engine, hasn't fully repaired, and the Grants are covering it. KB-1 now taking quite a beating, down to about 30% health, forced to move out of the way. The pack gun also taking some shots as well, and this KB-1 is coming in for the flank, gonna get right behind that pack gun, couldn't clear it out. And there it goes, 1 shot goes down to 2 men on that pack gun. The pack gun is turning around, trying to phase that KB-1. Another nice shot goes in. Very low health left on that pack gun. The pack gun is now cleared out, so the KB-1 is able to take some additional shots to the rear armor on the Tiger, but it itself is exposing its rear armor to the Tiger. Decides to take another shot and get out of the way, while shock troops and the pack gun set up in the center, trying to cut off that Tiger if he decides to go for the charge. Down south, G43 Grants, Panzer Grenadiers pushing into the center. The shock troops are now in a lot of trouble. Gonna be forced to retreat or die. Down to 1 man, the KB-1 moves in to intercept the Panzer Grenadiers. Panzer Grenadiers not capable of doing anything against the KB-1, but the KB-1 is well not able to do much against the Panzer Grenadiers. The pack gun is getting cleared out. We have another KB-1 down in the center. The pack gun does get cleared out, however, and the Panzer Grenadiers continue to push. The conscripts are moving down to the center to support, and a Panzer Grenadier squad does get cleared out, down to 1 man, because it decided to, for some reason, capture the pack gun, apparently, and then it retreated. Grenadiers do move in, get in range to capture that pack gun, but the pack gun is now getting assaulted by both KB-1s. KB-1s clear out the pack gun 1 more time, and away goes the Panzer Grenadiers as well. Tiger up in the north, almost fully repaired. That engine is about to get nice and shiny and purring like a kitten, but the KB-1s continue to repair, or will continue to get repairs, but they have taken quite a beating there. One is at about half health right now. MG42 sets up in the center, catches that approaching conscript squad. KB-1 moves in, takes a shot at the MG42, and gets a nice hit on the gunner. KB-1s move in to engage the Tiger. The Tiger is very fearsome and formidable, forces them to back off the MG42, forcing away the infantry that is supporting the tanks, and the KB-1's not able to clear out that MG42. Combat engineers right in front of the Tiger right now. A crew shot goes down on that KB-1. The KB-1 is not able to do much. They are stunned and they don't know what to do. They get back into their senses and take another shot at the Tiger. The Tiger has taken some punishment, but the KB-1 is probably going to go down. Now down to about 10% health. And there it goes. A nice shot goes off, out of control, crashes onto the hedgerow, and now there's only one KV1 left on the field. Yona does have enough fuel to get another one if he wants to. Pack-on takes some shots at the Tiger, and a very nice amount of damage going down. Blitzkrieg gets hit on the Tiger, but the Tiger gets caught on the building. 18-8 goes off on the Tiger, but it does get a crit on the engine, and the Tiger manages to back off at about 20% health. KV1 continues to push into the center. Fancy Grenadiers now coming into the center to support. We have up in the north some shock troops just moving around for capture. And the MU-42 is getting cleared out by the whole machine gun of that KV1. KV1 taking some additional shots from the Tiger. The Tiger continues to take some shots from the Pack-on. The Pack-on doing a lot of damage. A cruise shot goes down on the Tiger. Can he clear out the Tiger? The KV1 is going for the kill, but the KV1 is very low in health. Now down to about 5% health. The Grenadiers are trying to get some foul stops potentially. The Pack-on is also being pushed back, although Panzer Grenadier Squad is going to intercept it and clear it out. And the KV1 is trying to get out of there alive and very low in health, but it looks like he's going to make it home free. AT gun now getting assaulted by Panzer Grenadiers and a flamethrower. Very low in health, not going to make it. These conscripts could potentially merge with it and keep that veterancy alive. Or no, they're just going to try to go the old-fashioned way and get in between them and shoot at the approaching infantry. So the Pack gun is barely going to make it out of there alive. And the base sector MG should now be able to cover it, while the other KV1 is just moving around there. So yeah, those Pios were very bloodthirsty. They went a little bit too far, down to one man on the retreat. Can they make it out alive? The KV1 will take one last shot at it, and it misses his house, so makes it out. Another Tiger on the field for HFSzsoci, so the nightmare is never ending for Yona. Yona is going to have to pull together and get his KV1s back in full working order. That one is very damaged. He does have two combat engineers, and the second one is moving down south to repair that KV1. He does have a T-34 on the field, so he could get a lucky ram crit on that Tiger to disable it. But yeah, I mean, that Tiger, as we saw, is very, very good at dealing with those KV1s. Shock troops up north go for the cutoff to the fuel point and the munitions. They do actually capture the victory point. So Yona is currently sitting at a triple cap against HFSzsoci. So that is 409 points versus 124 triple cap. That's going to be very quickly drained. So HFSzsoci is going to need to react to that very quickly. Another T-34 is getting produced for Yona, so he wants to go for the ramps potentially. And the Tiger is currently sitting in the center of the map. She's moving around trying to see what it can catch, but not really supported by any infantry. Infantry-wise, we only have two Grenadier squads left for HFSzsoci. He has Veterancy 3 on both of them, however, so that's very nice. And yeah, G43's on them as well, so they do output a lot of damage. So they're not to be trifled with, but it is only two, so that's a lot of damage that they can do. Anyways, Tiger taking some shots from the T-34. T-34 getting shot in the rear from the Tiger. The Tiger backing off into some conscripts. Conscripts gonna get in range and throw an 18-8. And they do, but it only blows to the surface and does not manage to get a crit. Veterancy 3 conscripts are able to tank damage from the Tiger quite a bit, but a nicely placed shot there by the Tiger nails 3 of them, and now down to 2 men for the retreat. This T-34 back home is not being utilized for some reason, I don't know why. But there we go. Yona now notices, oh wait, I have that T-34, let's go ahead and move them back to my side of the field. Up in the north, conscripts going for the cap. We have Grenadiers going for the decap on the victory point, and the center is also getting capped by MG42. And Pack gun for Mother Russia gets activated once again by Yona. He throws a Molotov? No, he goes for the Russia trying to get behind that MG42, but he does get caught. Oh, sorry, those are shock troops. So yeah, they do manage to pop a smoke to break that line of sight and get the suppression off. And now they are back into full order. They could continue running it right on top of that MG42, but the Tiger is right on top of them, doing a lot of damage. And there comes another ram. Gets a crit on the rear, and down goes the main gun for the Tiger, and the damage on the engine. So that Tiger is now open for the KV1s. There is a Pack gun, however, that is cleared out if the KV1s want to have full range. But the stolen Pack gun is doing quite a bit of damage. Where it is, back here. Needs to move up a little bit more to get in range of that Tiger. Second T-34 is in range, getting covered by the disabled T-34. And the KV1 up in the north is currently backing off from those strengths. Conscripts are now in an exhausted state, taking additional damage. The shock troops as well. T-34 goes down. T-34 is now moving up to try to get the final shots on that Tiger. Gets a nice penetration on the frontal armor, down to about 5% health. The pilots are trying as hard as they can to repair, but the T-34 gets shocked by the pack gun apparently, and it goes down. KV-1 still on the field, trying to get some repairs off from the combat engineers, but the combat engineers are chasing it down. The KV-1 is moving to the victory point, just trying to get that point advantage and continue to bleed his enemy. Down to 77 points for HFSzsoci, but he did lose both of his T-34s. He did do a lot of damage to that Tiger. That Tiger is currently crawling its way back home, trying to stay alive, and the pack gun is currently in the center of the map. So this KV-1 has the potential of getting that kill if he gets repaired right now. It's getting repaired right now. Fully reinforced, could go for the kill if he wanted to, and is he going to want to? That is the question, however. There we go. All units are now back in full combat effectiveness. Pack gun fully recruit, fully healed up, and add veteran C2, which improves its rate of fire and the turn speed of the weapon. So very nice. Currently, however, HFSzsoci is in a dominant position as far as infantry goes. He has 3 grants, although not really. No, I take that back. I mean, he does have the MG42 to, you know, be the deciding factor, but it's kind of even as far as combat engineers getting upgraded with flamethrowers at the same time. They're not going to go to town on that grenadier squad. Grenadier squad going straight at the KV-1, trying to get in range for a Faust apparently. But the KV-1 is currently out of range of that pack gun. The flamethrowers on the combat engineers going towards the MG42. The MG42 now getting flanked by another Mother Russia popping, and that flamethrower is doing a lot of damage. Pack gun forced to retreat, and the Tiger is now at about 30% health, getting repaired by 2 Pioneer squads, so it's going to be back in full order in a little while, but Yona still has a little bit of time. That pack gun, however, did not get decrewed, so that means that Yona does not have the freedom to go all over the place. Fuel-wise, he does have enough to get another KV-1, but he is very reluctant to do so. He's getting himself another 34, trying to secure the win with another ram, I suppose. Down south, the pack gun taking some shots at some stray grenadiers, and we have conscripts just capturing the territory as well. Mines getting laid down all over the center point for Yona. This Grand Squad is heading straight into that mine. Is it going to hit it? Yes, it does. But only one of those Grands actually gets hit by it. The KV-1 taking some shots as it can. KV-1 now actually at Veteran C2. Veteran C2 gives it better control over the vehicle's main gun, improving targeting and weapon range. So that's nice. It increases its range. Tiger, however, now back to full strength, heading straight into the field. The pack gun backs off just to be in a more secure position. But the exhausted state of the shock troops has not allowed them to run, get range, and they're now getting beaten on by everything. Tiger, MG42, pack gun. Nice popping there of smoke by Yona. Very nice usage of that skill. We don't see it used that much that often. Breaks the line of sight, and the MG42 is now right on top of the shock troops. However, the Tiger does notice the shock troops who are currently crawling in a clump together. Takes a shot but misses. These shock troops are going to have to retreat right now, and there they go. Hit retreat, very slowly retreating, but they are going to make it alive. KV-1 backs off, and the T-34 up in the north taking some shots at the Gurens that are capturing the victory point. Victory point-wise, HFSzsoci is now down to 26 points, 25. So it's getting very desperate for him, but he's going for the push. He's in a very nice position, currently decamping both points and capturing the center one. The Grand Squad moves up to be able to get a Faust off on that T-34. Faust goes off, but the Grand Squad is now down to 1 man. Veteran C3, 2 combat engineers right on top of them, but they are simply on the move command, and they do not stop to engage, and the Grand Squad makes it alive. T-34 now disabled on its engine. The Tiger is moving in for the kill. The T-34 continues to back away. There are 2 combat engineers nearby that can repair it, and there is a conscript squad in there for a nade. Conscript to the center getting mauled by the MG42, down to 1 man on the retreat, but the MG42 is not able to continue to shoot it as it retreats, so it will make it out alive. And the Tiger up in the north, engaging those combat engineers, trying to go in for the crush apparently, and the combat engineers decide to retreat since they don't want to get trampled by a Tiger. T-34 currently getting repaired by the combat engineers. The KV-1 and pack gun move in to engage into the north, and they will put up a nice front. There goes the shock, true shock on that Tiger. The Tiger now down to about 75% health. The T-34 getting fully repaired. There it goes. Repairs are completed, and the KV-1 and the conscripts continue to push forward. That Tiger is holding strong, getting repaired by the Pios on the field, and there is a Pilot squad nearby for support. Center map, shock troops trying to engage and distract. Nice nade on the pack gun, but it moves out of the way. And the T-34 moves in to get in range of that Tiger. The Tiger takes a nasty shot on that T-34. T-34 down to about half health. Needs to get in range if he wants to go for the ramp. Decides to expose its rear armor, getting shot on the rear by the Tiger. And the Tiger is getting shot by both pack gun and KV-1. Decides to back off. Tiger currently cornered, but it is still at about 60% health. The T-34 decides to back off and is probably just going to go home and get some repairs. Second T-34 getting produced for Yona. Going to hit the field in a second. There it goes. And another true shock on that Tiger. Stops it for a little while. The pack gun currently cloaked because it has veteran C3. And continues to take some shots. Very nice. Enemy pack gun taking shots to add the stolen pack gun. The KV-1 moves up, and the Tiger is now down to very low amounts of health, down to about 5%. That KV-1 needs to go in for the kill, but it decides to back off and is going to try to help out the pack gun. So he decides to back off and live another day, but I don't think that was the right choice. Look at that Tiger. Look at its health. It's down to a sliver of health. Pack gun backing off, but currently getting cleared out. It does have the ambush tactics engaged, which slows down the movement. So one thing to keep in mind, something not a lot of players are used to because it's a very recently not very used ability, but basically when you hit ambush, your pack gun moves slower. So what you want to do is move it in fire, remove the ambush, and they will move it. Anyways, pack gun backing off into the fire of that Molotov. They only take a little bit of damage, but they make it out alive. But unfortunately for Yona, HFSzsoci now has 2 pack guns to his name, and that means that his tanks are not going to be as effective. They're going to get mauled as they approach. Victory point wise, HFSzsoci managed to get himself a triple cap going on Yona. Yona now down to 351 points, but HFSzsoci is sitting at 16 points. So a very desperate maneuver there, but he did manage to break the lines of Yona and get control of the mag back in his favor. MG42 set up to cover the center map. We have down south some grants moving around, but the south is currently exposed to Yona, essentially. So Yona is pushing with all his forces down to the south, going to go capture that, and force HFSzsoci to reposition his troops down to the south. Tiger still moving around. Shock troops getting called in for Yona. So Yona, if he keeps his cool, he's actually in a very nice position to win the game. He does have a lot of tank forces. Pack gun in the center, going to get shot from that T-34. Takes a retaliatory shot to the T-34, but the T-34 moves out of its range, and down goes the pack gun. Very nice shot there by the second T-34. Clears out the entire weapon. So a nice pickup there for Yona. He might be able to win this after all. That pack gun now gun means that he is sitting very comfortably in a position where he doesn't have to take a lot of damage on his tank. T-34, however, does take quite a beating to the pack gun and the Tiger. The pack gun back in base and is covering the area. But yeah, the T-34 just moves out of the way, and the capture is now going down on the south point. Down at the south, we have the Grenadier squad getting annihilated by the T-34s and the KV-1s. They do manage to get a foul stop on that T-34, so it needs to get repaired. But the victory point is now going to be captured by Yona. Center point getting captured by shock troops, so we are now 2-1 essentially. 286 points still left for Yona, so he is sitting very comfortably there. And the Tiger is moving barely repaired at about 30% effectiveness into the center. He wants to push out those shock troops because of the desperate situation about those victory points. Southern point currently getting decapped by conscripts, and the northern point is also getting decapped by shock troops. So I think this is going to be it. I don't think HFSzsoci is going to be able to hold on. He is losing the center point. Tiger moves into the center to try to engage the T-34s and the KV-1. T-34 moves in, could actually go for the ram on the Tiger, but he decides to not actually go for it. He's just going to go in for the flank to do some additional damage, since the KV-1 is capable of tanking a lot of damage very easily. And down to 9 points now, currently double capped. Center point is not getting capped, and triple cap is going to go down. 7 points taking, 3 triple cap going off. So this is it. Goes in for the ramp just to add insult to injury. Gets the damage. Down goes the Tiger. Down 1 point, and that is going to be it. So very well played there by Yona and HFSzsoci. Very nice play by both. So yeah, I enjoyed it immensely. So I hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.